Everybody's will call our first Tuesday business meeting to order. Need approval of the agenda.
So move, Mr. Chairman.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right. If you'll join me in the invocation and the pledge. Heavenly Father, we thank you so much for watching over us. We thank you for loving us. We thank you for all the blessings that you give us. We thank you for the freedoms to have meetings like this and for all those that have served and are still serving to give us those freedoms. We ask that you watch over this board meeting tonight, guide our hearts and minds in making the right decisions. And Lord, tonight we just want to ask a special prayer for our chairman. Just ask that you lay your healing hands on him, give him the love and the strength that he needs to get through this. And just watch over his family as well, Lord. We ask all these things in Jesus' name. Amen. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. We have planning and zoning first up on the agenda. Item A and item C. Item A has been tabled and item C withdrawn, so we'll just be hearing item B. Jim.
That is correct. Our only item this evening will be the request by Johnny Watson on 2668 Great Highway. This is a conditional use to allow an outdoor auction. The Planning Commission has recommended approval of this request.
Is there anyone here to speak on? Mr. Watson here to speak? I'm here. So, do we have anybody that's not in favor of it? Anybody opposed to it? I guess if not, then Mr. Watson, you don't really have anything to say then, do you? All right. Any discussion, or I need a motion?
Motion to approve, Mr. Chairman.
Second.
All right, second, motion and second, and all in favor, aye?
Aye.
Motion same. Motion passed. Unanimous. All right, next on the agenda is board appointments. We don't have any? All right, I need approval of the minutes for the consent agenda for the first Tuesday and the executive session on December 7th. Need a motion?
So move, Mr. Chairman.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same. Motion passed. Do we have any visitors signed in? I think we have one that wants to speak when we get to the item.
Yeah.
Is there any other ones?
We do have one visitor, David.
Mr. Galt is, I don't see Mr. Galt here. So we'll move on to the new business then. First on the agenda is the district attorney's office, the ARPA position. Mr. Barksdale.
Good evening.
Good evening, sir.
Mr. Kitchens, you don't have that no button over there, do you?
No, sir. I threw it away. I knew you were coming, so
I've got it.
I said that to you all.
she just put new batteries in it. That's what she was doing.
Let me tell you what's going on and why I'm before you. Back in the spring, word got out that the federal government was going to give the state of Georgia quite a large amount of money to help in the recovery efforts in trying to get our court systems back up and running. And this is the American Rescue Plan Act funds. Back in October, our Supreme Court Justice, David Nanius, made the announcement that there'd be $110 million available for circuits to apply for funding. And I want to first say, before I go any further, that our Chief Judge, Brenda Trammell, has been instrumental in fighting for this money for our circuit. This is money that won't cost the local taxpayers any money. And she worked closely with me and Bob Natico, who is our district court administrator. He's over several judicial circuits, including the Milwaukee Circuit. Ultimately, what happened is back in December, I submitted an application for funding for a full-time investigator. I don't know if you're aware, but at the time, we only had one full-time investigator for 8 counties for the district attorney's office. And I felt like the circuit would benefit from having another investigator. Since that time, Baldwin County has funded a second investigator. But nonetheless, I made that application for an investigator and a victim advocate to be placed in Morgan County. And what I have is the press release
Okay.
that outlines, I only got a few copies. Yes, you are.
We'll share.
Here you go. But if you flip to I believe the last page, what you're going to find out is that through the work of Judge Trammell and our district court administrator, we were in fact awarded $160,000+ to fund these 2 positions. This is a grant-based position that I'll have to apply for every 12 months. After I applied for it, and this was kind of the wild, wild west, nobody really knew how this was going to work, what could be used for this money, and ultimately it was decided that each judicial circuit would be capped at $2 million. Well, nobody from the circuit except for the district attorney's office applied, and the circuit as a whole only got the number that I've highlighted for you. So Judge Trammell and the court administrator contacted me and said, right, we're going to contact the clerks, we're going to contact the sheriffs, law enforcement, and see who's interested in making an application for additional funding. We're nowhere near the $2 million mark. Apply for more. So based on that, I have submitted a second application for additional personnel, one being an additional assistant district attorney that will be year to year, equipment to staff to help with the performance of the people that we've asked for. And also what's important is the last position I requested was for a part-time legal assistant. I'm telling you right now that I've had one application for my ADA in Jones County that you pay for. However, I have a third-year student at Mercer that is coming on in the spring. I intend, if I'm given the additional money, I intend on paying that Mercer law student and hopefully ultimately hiring her after she takes the bar exam. I have extremely high hopes for this individual, and we've done this previously with other law students that were ultimately hired. Why do you care about this? Why am I in front of you? Because there's always red tape around things. The original plan was for the court administrator, our district court administrator, he will receive this funding. His office will receive it and then pass it along to PAC, Prosecuting Attorney's Council. I've already filled the investigator spot. That investigator will be housed in Jones County. Some of you may know him, W.S. Robertson. He's a retired U.S. Marshal. Very excited about it. But the short and skinny is PAC came back and said, we can't receive funds directly from the court administrator. Red tape. I don't know all the answers, Commissioner Kitchens, as to why they could not do that. But this is what they said they could do. And really what's happening is an oversight. We're a circuit with 8 counties. Circuits that have one county, Fulton and DeKalb and Cobb, it's not an issue. But I've got 8 counties. And the issue that we run into, and it's a fair point, when it's just one county, the county gets every benefit of every cent that they spend. When it's multiple, you get the question right, why are we gonna pay for an employee that's not gonna be in Jones County? That's the point I tried to make. Here, what we're asking is this, and this is what PAC has asked me. They've had conversations with Mr. Risner and Ms. Crutchfield, and I was encouraged to come before you and ask this. This is how the money would flow. PAC would pay these employees. Okay? They're state paid, they have state benefits. Once PAC pays them, Jones County reimburses PAC, and Bob Natico, the district court administrator, reimburses Jones County. That's how the pipeline would work, and it gets around the red tape issue that PAC has. Bottom line is this: it would cost Jones County money from the standpoint of writing a check, but PAC would be reimbursed within 10 days. Jones County would be reimbursed every cent within 10 days. You're going to get a full-time investigator at no cost to the citizens of Jones County. You're going to get a law student that hopefully we're going to end up being able to hire within 6 months. That also saves the county from the standpoint of when that position is filled. Obviously, y'all are paying that every month. Right now, we've been having to pull resources from other areas to make sure that Jones County is taken care of. I feel like I've rambled a little bit, but if you have questions, I want to answer them. Bottom line is this is a value to Jones County, but I need some help as far as just funneling the money through the system.
Jason?
And I was just going to say that, and Levita, I don't want to speak for you, but, the three of us have talked, and I think I feel safe to say we don't have any heartburn over this arrangement. We've had a very good working relationship with Bob Natico and his office through time, and certainly with the district attorney's office in Wright, and so we feel comfortable that all this will work just fine, and there's no unnecessary exposure for the county and that type of thing. Just wanted to get the board's okay to proceed with that, since it would kind of be flowing through us. So.
That would,
And I want to be clear, I didn't mean to interrupt you. One of the things that I spoke with the director of the prosecuting attorney's council about was, I said, Pete, I get more nervous about talking to my local county commissioners than I do giving a closing statement on a murder case. These guys support us heavily, and I want to do right by them. I said the other thing is if this thing in any way, shape, or form it goes bad, it's going to damage the relationship I have with the board. And I've been assured that there's absolutely no exposure to the county, liability, anything like that. It's simply moving money from A to B, and you get reimbursed.
no, I think explaining it does a lot for us, because there's a lot of red tape, and we understand that. But knowing the ins and outs and knowing you're concerned over if it goes bad, it says a lot. And my only question would have been to Levita and Jason is, from an auditing standpoint, are we okay with A, B, C, and C being in the middle? So, yeah, I can't make the motion, but if the motion's in order, I will take one.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Got a motion and second, and all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion passed unanimously.
I just want, before I leave, I want to tell you, each one of you, how much I appreciate you. Obviously, I say this every time I live here. I love this community, and I pray that the work we're doing reflects the expectations that you have for me and what I'm trying to do. So I really appreciate you and what you do for the county.
Appreciate you.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Right, thank you.
He even says it at the grocery store, picking the kids up. He says, I see you. If y'all don't mind, can we skip back to the visitors? I seen
Yeah.
Mr. Galt. I seen him come in, so We'll move back to visitors. Mr. Galt, you wanted to talk about safety issues on the bypass.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir, please.
Good evening, everyone.
Yes, sir.
I have a little concern about the ending down there on Highway 22. Just recently, I believe it was Christmas Eve, we had a young man run out there and get killed. So that makes two of our citizens. There's been three at the roundabout in the first 2 weeks that it was there. I was just wondering if you'd consider putting one of those blinking lights at the end there. The only thing you have there is a stop sign. If you put one of those solar blinking lights there, I think that would draw a little more attention, because people that travel that route a lot of times, they don't really pay attention to some things that's happening. And you look over that hill, if you're coming north on 22, you have to get right up on the turn before you can make the turn, because there's cars down in the valley. Okay, I've noticed that several times. And sometimes you come there and you don't see a car, but when you get right close up on it, you see a vehicle coming down the road. I don't want to see any other citizens, young citizens of Jones County, get killed for any reason, whether they're driving, walking, or whatever. And I would hope that you take this in consideration, to put some other type of warning there to let these young drivers. You have more and more young drivers coming out. I have three in my family, so a lot of times and I hate to say it, but they're playing with that phone and doing everything else but paying attention to what they're doing.
Yes.
And if we could save one life, then I'd appreciate it. Also, while I'm on the roundabout, while I spoke of the roundabout, I don't know what it would take to have that cleaned up by the company that cuts the grass. That is an eyesore. You go around there and you find everything. You find everything out there but money. So I'd like for you to take it in consideration to possibly have the company that cuts that grass to come out maybe every other week, sweep it up, because you have a lot of traffic there. And what I saw the other day was a safety factor. Somebody had dropped a piece of metal on the side, and a car come around there real close to the side, and it flipped up. A piece of metal flipped up, which is a safety hazard to somebody else. And if my memory serves me correctly, somebody got killed because of that. They ran over a piece of pipe, and it flipped up and hit the car next to it and went through the window. And I'll research it, find out, and I'll send it down to you. But that and the cleanliness of the county. We're getting to be the garbage can of Georgia. Everywhere you look, there's a piece of trash. On the sides of the road, everywhere. And I don't know what happened to the crews that used to come up, pick up the trash from the sheriff's department. I haven't spoken to him. But maybe we'd take that in a little more consideration to have
Don said, why you always looking at
Why
me?
you always picking on me, right? To have, but I've seen people, I don't know, it's something needs to be done. Maybe raise the fine. We were told that we could raise the fine if we ran it through our committee. And I believe it would cut down on some of the trash throwing, cigarette butts, baby diapers, and anything, food wrappers, beer cans, and anything else that people want to throw out there to be an eyesore to somebody that takes pride in where they live. If you raise that fine up to maybe $5,000 and give some community service, no, you laugh, but
No,
there are places in Virginia you can go up there literally and eat.
No, I laugh because we've
Gotta
had
get their
these.
attention.
Yeah, we laugh because we've had these exact conversations in the last 2 months about that. And
Right.
we just had a
30
work
minutes ago.
session from 4:30 to
4:30
6.
meeting,
We had a work session on blight,
It's all right.
on
Okay.
cameras, on everything. Also, on the number 3 on our agenda tonight, or 4 on our agenda, is talking about lighting on the bypass and getting in touch with DOT and Sheriff's Office and seeing
Other
what
safety
needs to be
measures.
done to light all the intersections up.
Right.
Because
I'm glad of that, and you guys seem to be ahead of the curve, but I hope I hope it doesn't take, a lifetime for things to get done sometimes because, you know, you have good intentions going in.
Yep.
And then you run up against different things that, you know, will set you back. But I definitely don't want to see another person get killed on that bypass.
Right, it's
We
terrible.
don't need-
5
yes,
is
sir.
enough.
Right,
5 is enough.
One's more than enough, yes, sir.
right. One is too many.
Well, yeah, true.
Yeah.
And so that is all I have to say, other than the cleanliness of the county.
Yes, sir.
That's all of our
Johnny,
job.
He's doing a good job. You know, I picked at him. Even when I was here, I picked at him all the time.
That's right.
But thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Galt. We appreciate you. All right, we'll move on to number 2 on our new business. Well, number 7 repairs. Mr. Ingram. Page 27. In the right action. I mean, Shannon, whatever your name is.
No, now it is. Now it is. A little colorblind, it's kind of hard to tell the difference. We have an issue at well 7 out at the Henderson plant. The existing pump is worn out, and we need to replace it. We're looking at going back with a submersible pump, which is what we have in most of the other ones. Total cost to replace it, materials and labor is $23,561. We knew that was over the threshold as far as bidding type stuff, and was really wanting to see what your preference was on this.
I just got a quick question. Based on your letter, is that December 15th?
Yes, actually the pump was pulled on the 7th.
On the 7th. So I know we had an emergency provision built in some time ago for things like this. Yeah, it's not on you, it's on us. I just want to
Well-
make sure, in case Jason didn't know, we had,
If this was in May or June, to be honest with you, it'd be
Be
fixed.
emergency.
Okay,
Because
I'm
we
just
couldn't
making
live
sure.
without it. I mean, we
Alright.
can't live without it. This time of the year, we're okay.
okay, all right.
I mean, but Jason wanted to bring it before the board and see what y'all wanted to do.
I got you. And the only reason I'm bringing that up, because if it took time to get this pump in, that just further exacerbates the situation, so.
It does.
Okay,
And since we've had this pulled and we've had some issues, we've started having issues with the discharge head on well 9. So we're gonna turn around and follow this with some work on well 9.
okay.
And then we're gonna come back with you next month for a project to tie well 10. Well 10 is done, except for the generator, but it needs to be connected to the system.
Okay.
Just sitting out there, run, everything's ready to go.
Can you do 7 and 9? Can you, if we have to bid them, can you do them at the same time? Would the same company type of company do both the jobs, or?
They would. The problem, as of this problem, when you went out there, it was vibrating. You could see it, the motor vibrating like this. We didn't have any idea what was wrong until we pulled it all out of the ground. And that's the problem. Well 9, the discharge head's leaking real bad.
It may not be
It may be, the stuffing box may be gone in it, which the shaft goes through. We know the access ports that we measure water levels with, you can't get anything into them, so they're corroded shut, broke, not real sure till we pull it off. And that's the issue we run into bidding stuff like this, bidding repair work. A lot of times with the pumps, we don't know what's wrong with them until we tear them apart.
What's y'all's thoughts? Chairman can't make a motion.
Hey, it would have been fixed in December, I'm a fan of water, even though I live on a well personally, but for everybody else.
Yeah, I think our issue is the bid threshold, right? And
It is.
If we deem it an emergency or,
So there's the emergency provision. There's also some language in there about if it's inappropriate for competitive bidding due to the nature of the work that has to be done. And so, to me, that kind of describes our issue here. I mean, we don't know exactly what the issue is to be addressed. And so how exactly do you bid that out?
What are you gonna bid if you don't know what the problem is?
Right.
What you're asking for.
Right. So we've discussed, and I don't know if we raised the bidding threshold to 25 or 30,000, but we still, anything up to over 5, we bring to Jason, and this is what we got. I know we're looking for a department head for the War Department, and that may need to change. It's just, since Jeffrey's left and we have seen some of the day-to-day issues we have, a $5,000 threshold is difficult.
Yeah.
Because I need to buy parts for pumps 2, 3, and 4 at River North. I'm gonna spend about $8 or $9 grand per pump. And I'm not gonna go out on the market and bid those parts because there's only one company that's gonna make them.
We've had that discussion at the school district too, and actually raised it to 30,000 for that reason. Especially, it's a compounded problem. Number one, the price of everything is 40 to 50% higher than it was 2 years ago. Number two, if you spend the time to bid it out, you lost your chance at getting that product. Somebody else already got it that raised that threshold, and now you're on a 6-month waiting list. The paint, pumps, roofing material, metal, steel, everything is on a quantity base pretty much right now. You only get so much of it, and if you're not in there to get it, you're on the next shipment 6 months from now, or the next batch that's produced. So I don't know if it needs to be a temporary issue, or if we need to discuss it at another time as far as the thresholds of bid versus the thresholds through Jason. I wouldn't want to open it up, and this is nothing against our department heads, but I think there does need to another level of scrutiny on the funding, whether it's through Levita or through Jason, at a level between 5 and 10 and 30. I have the hard time of the 30,000 not being a bid threshold, and so it has to come to us to ask to bid it, and then it has to go out for 30 days, and so we're looking at a minimum of 6 weeks to even get the product that or even order the product that you're looking for, and then if you're another 6 weeks to get it, if it was an emergency, not anymore.
Yeah, I think critical systems and anything that has to do enterprise related, obviously water and sewer, that sort of becomes a no-brainer for me. I'm more comfortable there. Obviously, with the checks and balances, carte blanche authority to do some of the things that could get a department head in trouble or us in trouble, I'm not exactly excited about. But water and sewer, I'm a little more open because of who we serve and the impact that has. The engine goes down in Public Works. I'm not as concerned about if water goes down and the county loses water.
Yeah.
With that being said, I'm going to ask a simple question. Material-wise, if we had to buy parts, literally it is what it is. Do we have to bid out parts, right? And the only reason I'm asking that, because I know if we had to buy, and I guess the well is the only thing that I can remember is buying parts for sort of the variable frequency drive, I think, for.
Or the pumps went out.
Correct. So when we're buying material, are we still locked in at that same bid? Because if we bought a whole bunch of pipe, I don't remember us bidding, for something small like that.
If we go buy a truckload of pipe, yeah, it's
Okay.
bid. If we need 100 feet or 200 feet to replenish inventory
Right.
because we had a main break, which I think we had one Christmas Day night or the day after. No, I think the materials are $1,900.
Okay.
All right. I love not being able to make a motion. Just wait on a motion if it's in.
So I make a motion that we make the repairs on well number 7.
Second.
Do we need to go out for bid?
Jason was correct in what he informed you all. It could be by the nature of what you all are purchasing or trying to accomplish, is really not appropriate for the bid process.
Right.
Alita, where will this money come from?
For water, it can come out of new construction.
New construction?
From the water.
Water.
And based on that, that's why I'm really comfortable with a second. And again, the idea that other issues are happening down the line, I'm almost at emergency.
Right. Well, when we say emergency, it really has to be an emergency. We've sort of done this before with our engineer saying, we can kind of do without it right now, but not in the summer. We can't
Oh.
really say it's an emergency,
Right.
but we can say
Right.
it's
Due to the
really not
nature of
It's an urgent.
applicable due to the nature
Right,
of
but
it.
what I was saying, because of the other things that are happening down the line in the other wells, to me, if those two go down, then you have a bigger problem than
It's
this.
an urgent matter.
Yeah.
It's an
We
urgent.
just
It's
always
one
have
step
to
below
be
the
very
emergency.
aware to walk a fine line.
I
with
got you, we already
urgent.
second, I'm good.
Our problem, a year ago, it wouldn't be a big deal. We call him, tell him to order the materials, and it'd be here Monday. I call him, tell him to order materials, it'll be here Valentine's Day, maybe the week after.
So this material for this, how long will it take? This,
On December 14th, when the quote was sent, it was all within 2 weeks. He's calling to check and see. I would, the only issue on here is the 4-inch schedule, 123 PVC riser pipe. The pump is a standard pump as we can get. It's fairly ready, available, so is everything else. PVC riser pipes, 2-3 weeks. And that brings back the other urgency. We don't have sufficient capacity in the summer. So, like I say, this would have messed up on the 14th. We'd have called y'all on the 14th. Said we have to do this, or we'll be out of water in a week. The issue we run into with the pump stations, especially 1, 2, 3, and 4, when they overflow, when they have an issue in overflow, 4 runs down fairway number 5 at the golf course. The other 3 drain directly into the Town Creek Reservoir. So when there's an issue, we have to go resolve those. Lake Deer Run, it overflows, but I've got 2 miles to the nearest lake before it goes to the river. So I have a little time to go out there and do something and take care of it. But the other 4, I don't.
You got your second, Mr.
You got the
Chairman.
second? All right. We've been motioned and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion passes unanimous. Next on the list is water and sewer rate study. Mr. Risner, Mr. Ingram, tag teaming it.
So, oops, I don't know what just happened. Tim and I, going back some time, have talked about, having a outside, third party, I guess you would say, do a full-blown rate study, and so we are working now with an individual on doing a financial model for the water system that'll be a good guide for us going forward to do, and that's something we were able to do, for less than the bid threshold kind of thing with money we currently had budgeted, and so we've got that process rolling. We know that with the expansions that we're working towards through the Public Facilities Authority, part of the repayment there is going to have to come from rates and likely higher rates than what we have now. So a full-blown rate study would show us, what those rates need to be in order to pay for that capital improvement program that we're working on. And so you've got the proposal in your packet there, and I believe the total cost is about $16,000. Let's see if I can get to it. And so about 4,200 of it is the financial model. And so the balance there would be a rate study. We just think it'll be a valuable tool for the board going forward, as you look to set the appropriate rates to maintain your system really going forward. And so with that, I'll turn it over to Tim for any comments he might have on that.
He's gonna sit down and go through all the costs, basically along the AWWA manual M1 for rates, which we have done before. I think this will be a good bit more in depth than what we have done. And it's something we'll be able to sit down and plug that into and see how it affects us rate-wise and whatnot.
Well, I think we knew all along that to be able to expand our water system countywide like we're trying to do, that it was gonna take a lot of parts to it. Part of it was us pony up some money, which we've done, borrowing some money, which we've done, getting additional customers, which will make payments, and then the rate increase. And I think without this, I don't think we can figure that fourth component out in a fair manner so that we're being fair to our customers. We don't know whether it needs to be 10 cents or $10, but and how do we know without doing a study of how many customers we're going to get, what the value, what the cost is going to be to run it, all that. So again, I can't take a motion.
So just so I'm clear, are we bidding this, or y'all want to put this into professional services?
I would think this would be professional services.
Yeah.
Well, what's it is it between 20 and 200?
16.
Okay.
Tim and I have talked. So I've commissioned, or whatever you want to say, a rate study from this consultant before, and I felt like it was a valuable document, and you come away with a good financial model that's very useful. And Tim and I did talk about, are there other people out there that we would feel comfortable, doing this work? And I think kind of the short answer was no, I guess. I mean,
The best guy I knew that did it was Tim Grogg, and he retired as the finance director from GFA. And Tim hung a shingle up a few years ago. And I've sat down with him, and he sat down and said, don't do this project. It's going to break you. And I think Bobby will tell us the same thing. This is a good idea. This isn't a good idea. You need to do this in phases. You need to look at different options. You can fund 10 million in debt without any problem. 15 is going to be too much. And for me, the best thing about him, he's not tied to it. He's not tied to the county. He's not tied to the project. People tell me all the time, you benefit from doing the projects because you get paid to do the projects. Well, Bobby's an independent third party. They're going to tell you, yeah or no. Do it, don't do it. I think Bobby will tell you, you can afford 10 million, you can afford 11, you can afford 15, you can afford 20. I mean, it just, I think that's the advantage to having somebody from the outside.
And just from my past experience, one of the very valuable things you come away from all this with is looking out maybe 10 years. You can, based on the debt you have now, based on the debt you plan to incur, based on the number of customers you plan to add on, you can get a definite number of what that rate needs to be looking out for 10 years. And so if the board so chooses, you could adopt a resolution setting rates, going out 10 years. You could always come back and change it, but you have a guide, based on existing debt, planned debt, customer counts, and all that kind of stuff. And And it's relatively easy to modify too as you decide to do projects or not to do projects. So,
And, I mean, I just think here, we've agreed to spend a lot of money in water and sewage, on future projects. I mean, it makes sense that we look at somebody from the outside to look in to help us figure out what those rates need to be, because we're not gonna be able to stay at where we're at right now.
Well, think about your new department head that's gonna come running that department. And he may come in and the department may be in the middle of all this construction. And at least with the rate study and the reports done for the closing documents, whoever it is can sit down and read and understand, this is why we went to these areas, this was our process, this is what the financial side looks like. Because whoever it turns out to be is going to inherit a challenge.
Yes.
For me, I think it's kind of like the salaries survey, the salary study. If we're going to do it, we need to follow it, and I think the rate study does two things. It gives us, as a taxpayer and as a water customer, I want to know that those that are raising my rates done their homework, and this is the only thing they need. They only needed $2, so they raised it $2. They didn't arbitrarily raise it $10, and then they don't have a justification for doing it. But on the other side, it kind of gives us a little support when we do have to raise those rates, when people say, here they go, raising my rates again. We hadn't raised them since I've been in here, and so we know it's coming. So when it does come, we need to have that to say, we had an independent study done, and here's what it says. To run our department, we got to have this, and that's your backup for being open and transparent about why you had to do it. Because nobody's going to come say thank you so much for raising my rates. I really appreciate that.
No.
I don't think they are.
But I think because we are being transparent about it, and we are doing just cause, that they understand that $2 raise in price. But they gotta have something to show for it too, and that's, I think the study would be able to show is that with the improvements that we're making. So, do we need a vote?
I need a motion, because I can't make one.
I make a motion that we, do the water sewage rate study with, Miser?
Nelson.
Nelson.
Say it again.
No, I can't. No, stop. And the money's coming out of water revenue?
All right, motion is seconded. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
I do want it to be transparent, guys, and I'm going to be honest, since I'd like to see some other views on it. I trust you, Tim, and I do trust the process. But I do want to see more eyes on it. We've had some challenges with just one sort of sole source, and I want to see where other people see it, Considering where we're going and how we're growing, I'd like to see some more eyes. But I understand professional services all day because we do it. But on this one in particular, because of the scope of the projects, I do want to see more eyes on it. So that would be my only objection. That would be a nay, yes, ma'am. So you understand. Because we didn't do discussion, so.
We got time for that.
It's all right.
So, all right, it's 3-1. All right, next on the list is lighting on the bypass. Commissioner Wood?
All right, thank you. Yes, as Mr. Galt spoke earlier, there are safety issues on the bypass, and I've worked many emergencies on that bypass. I listened to the one Christmas Eve, and I've reached out to the sheriff's office. I haven't heard back on the actual contributing factors of that wreck, whether it was darkness or anything else. But I did reach out to Earl the following first part of the week, and I got every accident listing for the bypass since its opening in early 17, I guess. And it was 108 accidents, and there's been 14 accidents at the Highway 22 intersection. And many of these accidents are at night. And I think, I spoke to Jason, I spoke to several of you. I would like a formal resolution to come from this board, where we all sign it. We get the sheriff to sign it, we get EMA to sign it, city fire chief, everybody that we can, police chief, get our state representatives, state senator, and let's get some intersections illuminated, and so we need some blinking lights, red lights, caution coming from 22 approaching the bypass, and a big red flashing light at the end of bypass at 22. That would be a good start. Certain intersections are already lit at that on that bypass, but why aren't they all? They've all had accidents. And I think there's been 5 fatalities there. Some of those have been at night, some of them have been in the daytime. But nighttime is when it gets really dangerous out there.
Wasn't the original plan to light all of them? There was a lot of discussion about that. I know, or was it just 3 of them?
I think there were 4 originally, and
I know there was a lot of discussion about the lights they wanted to put up there, and we had heartburn over them sending us a $20,000 a year bill for lights, and they didn't want to put LED and
Yeah.
some energy saving lights, and so there was some back and forth on that. And I thought they said, okay, well then we're only going to do this one, and this one, which are the most traffic areas. Which
where we ended up was, so I think 3 out of the 4 that were in the original discussion have lights now. The one where the bypass comes back into 129 south of Gray, that has lights. Green Settlement has lights. Roundabout has lights. So those were the 3. I think the other one that was discussed was the one just right over here, and with 11. I'd have to look back. It's been a while. I don't know that there was ever any discussion about doing lights at the sort of the haddock end of the bypass.
And I wonder if it's because of the fact that that's a residential area right there. to be
That could
lit
have had
up.
something to do
You
with it.
could get the type of lights that don't look like stadium lighting, and it
It's
illuminates the
layered down
intersection,
to
but
the-
it doesn't blast into the houses.
Right.
But
Mhm.
even 18 West, the gateway to Sam's district, I've worked some
Oh,
nasty
yes.
stuff there, and it's been dark.
Yeah.
And you get run
Yeah,
over
that
after
is-
working a wreck because it's dark. But I would like to see a formal resolution and get our state senators and representatives to sign on if possible, and get DOT, and get some boots on the ground and dig in some dirt, and get some lights up.
I mean, because it's truly out of our hands because it's a DOT. And we're at their discretion, so we've got to be the ones that push it.
Yeah, I'm not talking bad about DOT, but we learned early on, there's no sending a letter and asking. It's get everybody you can to push it and push it up the line and get something done. So, seems to fall on deaf ears, and we definitely need something done, I would agree.
Okay.
You wanna make a motion on it?
Yes, sir. I would make a motion, we write a formal letter with a resolution supporting lights at every intersection on the bypass and a blinking light at the end at the Haddock Highway at 22.
Second.
All right, been motion to second, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passed. Next on the agenda is right-of-way acquisition / dirt roads. Jason and John Lowe.
So I think at last month's meeting, we were talking about LMIG, and it sort of led into a conversation about dirt roads and paving of dirt roads. The primary issue there, that kind of where a lot of those things get stalled, is in the right-of-way acquisition process, because it's so labor intensive, and so right as COVID was hitting, we issued an RFP for right-of-way acquisition services for a firm to help the county with that process, and it just kind of got lost. in amongst all that. And so, we did get 5 proposals back from different companies, and there was a link in your packet. I don't know if any of you had a chance to take a look at those, but and I can pull those up on here if there's anything you want to look at there. But most of them gave a per parcel amount, and so that's one potential approach to. Frankly, I just don't think we have the manpower in-house to really push those things through. I mean, we may have a slow period of time where we could work on that, but then when things get going again, it gets lost. And I think that's what's happened through time, I think. And so, you've got maybe a dozen roads on that list that are at some stage of that process. And so, so the outside consultant approach is certainly one thing for the board to consider. Another potential approach might be, hiring a staff person that works directly for us to do that. I think in some previous discussions, and I don't know that if I can't recall if it was in this setting or maybe Commissioner Martin, I think you and I had talked about this some. It may be where citizens are more receptive if it's somebody, hey, I work for Jones County. I want to talk to you about donating some right-of-way so that we can pave your road. Citizens may be more receptive to that approach versus I'm with consulting firm XYZ, working for Jones County. So probably an initial decision for the board to make is, do you like one of those two approaches, or is there something else you would want to go with? And if you like the consultant approach, I think we can dust off that RFP and send it back out and go that route. But just wanted to get any feedback y'all had on that.
I prefer the contract per parcel. I would rather say per owner, because here we have one owner could have 10 parcels, and if they're willing to give up the right of way on one parcel, they're not going to say, yes, I'll give it on this one, but not on that one, and yes on this one, not on that one. So we're paying for 5 parcels when they said yes on the first one. So maybe it's a per landowner.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe that's a discussion to have with them, but and it's not something we use all the time. So unless we're some of the other things we were talking about that we need the positions for, unless we gonna get a smorgasbord of a position. Got like 9 different things.
Like Sam, I think I'm more inclined to support the per parcel or per owner. Just for experience purposes, some of these roads have been on the list for as long as many of you have been children here in Jones County. And I know that I've seen one in my district the entire time I've been elected. So for experience purposes, I'm a fan of that. I'm old school, says, hey, leverage your relationship to go get the right of way from your neighbor. But here we are decades out and we still haven't been able to get it done. So contract it.
If that would help speed up some of these roads that desperately need to be paved, I'm sure that Mr. David back there has passed many of these roads in his day and time as being a commissioner up here to be paved, and they're still on the list.
May I interject something?
Yes.
I've had meetings on several roads, and only one person would sign the right of way. Stallings Road is one of them, and several other in District 2, and I know you're gonna run up against that. We'll have meetings and try to show the benefits of paving the road, which would be a safety factor, and for school buses and such that travel up and down there. But the citizens don't, the residents of the road don't want to cooperate.
Well, we know we'll run into that too.
Right.
But there's some of these that we desperately need. And if it's contracting it out, I think that's what we need to do.
Motion to approve contracting out right of way services.
Do you want to say?
I think we had a visitor.
That's right, you.
Yep, Ms. Hamilton, you.
The word acquisition makes me nervous, and I'm here, I guess, I'm here with 2 feet in this because I wasn't sure where you were going with what you were talking about acquiring and what roads would be involved. My farm property, I own land on both sides of Glosson Road, so when you start talking about Glosson Road, and John knows this because I get nervous about ditching and all that kind of stuff, the road keeps getting wider, but it was originally a 1-lane little private road, and there are only 3 families past me that are on it. So I just wanted to understand where you guys were kind of headed with that. And then Clinton Historic District has still got 1 dirt street in it, so I wasn't sure if you were just looking at a blanket, we're gonna take on dirt roads in Jones County, or if you had kind of a specific list, which is what it sounds like you all are looking at, is an old list that you wanna get worked on. So it was more of a concern and an understanding than anything, as I just kind of want to know how that would work, because I'm really not, I'm
So-
one of those that's not going to be supportive about Glosson Road getting this wide when you
well,
got 4 families on it.
Well, the process for getting a road paved is, first of all, you gotta have somebody on the road that wants it paved and get a petition up, of a majority of the landowners that want the road paved.
Okay.
And then you figure out how many are willing to give up property
Land to do it.
to do it. And then we gotta find the funding to do it. So it's a process which usually gets stalled in the, either getting the number of landowners that want to pave it, because there's a lot of them that will say, I had this not too long ago, somebody come up and said, I want to talk to you about Hall Trail, and I said, I know, we're getting blasted about getting it paved. I don't ever want it paved. Oh, I'm sorry.
See,
You know?
that would be me on Glosson Road.
So, you know, we hear it all the time of we want it paved, but we can't get enough signatures. Well,
Right.
then that means the majority of people don't want it paved. So
Right.
there's no need in us spending money to acquire property and that's not a road that's not going to be paved, or they don't want paved.
I just really wanted
Yeah.
to get comfortable with where that was going, because I know there are some roads that are high traffic that are dirt, and they're hard to
It'll be
work
3
with.
families, you got a lot of pull.
I know. I'm going down the road.
You 1/3 of the vote there.
So, thank y'all. Appreciate
Can
it.
I ask you a question? What list are they, have they upgraded the list? And,
Yes, sir, believe it or not, we combined all 5 lists, a couple of years ago.
what road is at the top of the list right now?
So in terms of the, and I can't figure out a good way to rotate this.
We can look sideways.
So, on the dirt road acquisition, we haven't prioritized those. I'm sure there's a way to do that, but
I'm glad.
You need to take
Yeah.
a picture of that.
this is on the website. That's why I'm, yeah.
Can't spin it.
Uh,
I thought you were talking about the spinning the story.
He can't figure out how to do that either.
But for the dirt roads, we don't have a priority given to those, and the reason there is, you can pull this list up on the website when y'all get home and look at it where it's not sideways, or I'm happy to print you a copy. But the reason we haven't prioritized those is because there are different numbers of parcels on each road. In some cases, you've acquired half of them, and some, so at some point, I think if we engage a consultant to help with this board will have to make some of those decisions about which ones to pursue first and second and third. But at this point, we don't have them ranked that way.
All right, any other comments? If not, we move on to number 6, surplus. We did take a vote
I did have a motion.
and a second,
A
right?
second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion passed. Next on the list, surplus, old convenience center containers. Mr. John Lowe.
Good afternoon.
Good evening.
The containers they were glass and aluminum that they used to put stuff in years ago, and we hauled them, I think, to Milledgeville. Well, they quit doing that.
Right.
So we got 11 containers on the yard, and they've been sitting there and trees growing up around them and everything else. And I would like to get rid of them, put them in the auction. Because if you cut the tops off of them, they're not deep enough to put anything in.
We don't have any other use for them that you know of.
They ain't been used in probably 7, 8 years. I mean, if y'all want to come down there one day, I'll ride you back there and show them to you.
What kind of what kind of containers are
Well, they had little doors, plastic, that you could slide to put your glass or put aluminum cans.
they? How big are they?
Full-length roll-offs.
Yeah, they
They're
roll
not tall.
off
You walk up to them.
things, but they don't have, the sides are not real high.
And so they're like painted recycled colors, green or blue or?
They green.
Okay. And there's nowhere for us to recycle glass or any of that stuff anymore either, is there?
They don't take it. Cost too much.
Have to travel to Atlanta, I think, to take the stuff. Costs more to go up than it would be,
And they're metal.
huh?
And they're metal.
Oh, yeah.
Would it be cheaper for us to scrap metal it or?
It's either that or either put them in the auction and see if somebody would buy them, you know?
If you knew the weight of them, you could calculate the scrap value and
Right.
put a minimum on it, so.
I mean, that's what we do on the buses too, so yeah, I get that.
That way you don't give them away.
Right,
But then it's gonna cost money for us to scrap them.
right.
I mean, they rusting away what they doing right now, sitting down there.
May I ask a question? Has anybody ever contacted Anchor Glass, or are they still down there on 247? Because I know they used to buy scrap glass, because they are a manufacturing plant down there.
They don't.
If they're still there.
Yeah.
You know, I haven't been down that way in a
They're
while.
still there.
I think they are, but from what we understand, we've called our recyclers and said nobody takes glass around it. Yeah, yeah.
I think the closest one now is in Conyers. I think they have a new one in Conyers, but still that's a long way.
All right, do we,
But it-
But it's still.
do we have a motion on,
Motion to surplus the old convenience center containers.
Second.
got a motion and a second? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Moving on to number 7. Technical assistance request or a National Trust grant for Clinton. That would be me. Ms. Hamilton, would you help me out with this one? Basically, there's an opportunity for some funding for for Clinton that they need our assistance, not in funding, not in matching, not in anything other than the request for assistance from the regional commission, which wouldn't cost us anything, wouldn't cost them. It's part of our membership. But the regional commission, based on all the work we've been doing with Jake's Woods and all this, has identified a funding source. And so they just need our letter of support or letter requesting them for the technical assistance to help with the grant. Any funding sources of the grant would come through the Historical Society. Did I say that right?
Yes, sir, we just need the county's support in asking the commission, or supporting the commission's writing the letter of intent for us for the grant. That just puts Old Clinton Historical Society in there as the person or the entity asking. The regional commission is writing the letter for us with y'all's support. And support to do it, not support of the grant.
I make a motion that we give technical assistance request for the National Trust Grant for Clinton.
Second.
All right, motion and second, and all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passed.
Thank you very much.
Number 8 is beer and wine license.
I have, two of them.
Oh, this is-
The first one, is for the golf course. It's under Jason's name. His background came back clean.
you know, that would be embarrassing, Jason.
So I make the recommendation to approve.
We're gonna do them together or individually? All right, motion to approve the beer and wine license for Jason here.
Second.
Is there any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion passed.
Okay, the second one is for Blue Moon Circle on Eatonton Highway, and that background also came back.
Is that the old BP, Mohawks on the Move?
Yeah.
Somebody is opening it?
They're trying to,
Way out there. Okay. All right, well, I need a motion.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All right, motion seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passed. Old business. Government Center roof. Donald, you've been waiting on it.
Donald, do you need to?
No, I don't think I've got it. Mine's just basically an update tonight. We actually found out that the current roof was done in 2004. It's actually a roof over another roof. So, the Clark and Associates actually did the bid package for us for that roof. So, come to find out, there was a 20-year warranty on the roof. Well, the manufacturer of the roof is now out of business. So that makes the warranty null and void. So Clark and Associates is, they're working us up a bid package to present to you guys before we put it out for bid. We're gonna have to do something.
That was not good news.
Are they
No,
gonna-
it wasn't good news at all.
Are they going to give options for types of roof? Or
Yeah,
they just
yeah,
determine
yeah.
what they
He
think?
will. He also said that the silicone roof, he didn't like that because 10 years, you ever have to reapply it, you can't, it has to be taken off. So, yeah.
All right, so do we need any action tonight, or is just an
No
update?
action tonight.
All right.
One other thing that got left off the agenda is our courthouse clock. It's been in since 2006. It's the old mechanical gearbox. We pay $1,000 a year for a guy to maintain it, and
Out of
it's
Florida?
got knuckles and all kind of stuff. We're averaging about $2,000 a year on that clock. And this is not to be voted on tonight. We can get electric clocks, get all that taken out for about $8,000, plus us hiring a crane with a basket. I'm gonna be bringing that before you guys soon, once I get my crane figures, and we'll go over that then.
We'll call on during citizen comments, okay? We're not voting on that.
Is there, are those wooden hands on the clock original hands, or they?
I think they're not original. It was redone. I think they're metal. I will double
But they
check
should
that.
have been done time specific for historical
It's still
purposes.
very
Right,
historical.
yeah. There's options that we can redo, like the face and all, but I don't want to do that. I just want to make it a mechanical electric clock.
So you're just talking for the operation of the arms, right?
Operation of the arms is all we're doing.
So it's internally, nobody will see.
Right now you got a gearbox that's got like 4 rods that come out of it that turns, it keeps everything timed.
You breaking my heart, man.
But, I mean, it was changed in 2006, 5 or 6.
So we've been spending about $2,000 a year in parts and $1,000
$2,000 a year
for
in
labor,
parts.
so about $3,000 a year.
That's an expensive clock.
And you know, it's kind of a unique thing. You know, you don't just find these people that do that kind of work. You know, he's been servicing that clock for, I think, even before it was changed out. So anyway,
He's the
just
only one
up for
that does it.
thoughts.
He's out of Florida.
Yeah,
Almost all
he does the Rolex clocks at the Masters and all these. All right, thank you guys.
All right.
All right, thank you.
Thanks. I can't hardly go on to the next one now.
Oh, jeez.
May I ask a question about that, beer and wine?
Let's, during citizen comments, that's been voted on, so during citizen comments, we'll call you up, okay? I know Ms. Hamilton has something to say, so thank you.
All right, FY 22 LMIG list, Jason.
So, this is, was the topic of conversation, last month, and the board opted to table it until this month's meeting. We have to have our list submitted to GDOT for approval by, February 1st. And so, last month, we talked some about the existing list, and we talked about some options to get everything that's on the existing list resurfaced. One thing that was brought up was Widener Drive, I believe, and the city is going to resurface their portion. We did
Stone Gables.
Stone Gables. So we did get, Mr. Wendell figured an estimate on that, and I just realized I walked in here without it. John, do you remember what it was? I think it was, I want to say it was $130,000. Does that sound right?
Sounds pretty close.
And so you've got that to think about. One other thing that I just wanted to mention as we were working on this, there had been some discussion about Stallings Road and the patches there. I had a chance to visit it and talked with John and Mr. Wendell. And there's an area there that has a lot of patches. There's 0.3 of a mile. And so, you know, in hindsight, it might have been good to just overlay that area after the patching was done. So we figured, we got an estimate on that. Mr. Wendell figured an estimate, and it was about $26,000 to go back and overlay that, plus a little bit for striping there. So, wanted to mention that as well.
And I made a site visit out at Stallings Road last week, and it'd been patched up. It's holding together now, but we have, other roads in District 2 that are dire needs. Davis, Smith, places,
Yeah.
those are in pretty rough shape. As far as Stallings Road, I think it could hold together for this year, come back and revisit another calendar year. But do we need to vote on this tonight, or are we going to wait till you have all your figures together in front of us?
So, I think, I feel very comfortable with the 130 figure for Stone Gables. And so you have figures here for the rest of the roads that are on that list. Davis Road will be our next, for the remaining FY21 LMIG money. We still have the contractor to come back and do some additional patchwork. And Davis Road is the next spot for that. So we do plan to get some patching done on Davis in the LMIG money that we're still spending. But for next year, it would be great if y'all could give us some guidance tonight on sort of what approach you would like to have for that application. It gets kind of tight if we wait until the next meeting, but we can make it happen either way. But
And all these roads have been assessed like we discussed with the Pacer.
and so they're in order here on the list in your packet. They're in order based on their Pacer rating, with the exception of the one at the very end, which wasn't given a priority. And that was Smith Road.
Yeah, Smith Road. Okay.
Whitehead Road off Wheeler?
Yes. Sam's district. It's a dead-end road.
Just a question while I'm waiting on a motion. What about the bridge on Graham Road that we talked about? You know, we put some patch on it, and then we were going to get them to grind
I know
down.
Mark was supposed to come, but I think he's been so busy. You know how that is.
He's doing two jobs. Me ain't that busy.
That's
Yeah.
the reason he ain't come. He's doing something for you.
Well, it's pretty close to where it's at, so he needs to get on over there.
So the list we're looking at for FY '22 LMIG is on this page, or is it the next page, FY '22 over here?
Those are the first ones here, right?
Mhm.
And then these are the last ones here. So we'll split this list in half to get both.
Yeah. The one exception there is, Dye Road was moved to FY '23 just because of the size of it. There wasn't a way to
Okay.
do that with the other roads
Right.
on the first half of the list.
And remind me, did we talk about Overland and it not needing something and maybe next go round or something? Was
Well,
that-
we talked about holding water, but,
Okay.
you know, what road doesn't hold water when it rains if
Right.
it doesn't quite flow off quickly? I mean, there's other roads that are cracked up that you could, or have, you know, severe safety bumps, humps. I mean, we've talked about spreading asphalt with a motor grader, and I've never heard of that before. I spread asphalt with an asphalt spreader, not a motor grader. I mean, I just, I'm still scratching my head from last meeting on that one. But Smith is in pretty bad. No offense, John. I mean, it's just, I mean, I just. There's,
Gotta know how to finesse it.
My-
Yeah.
transportation world of it, Davis is much worse than Smith to me.
correct.
You know, it's worse than Overland to me,
Oh,
Davis
yeah,
Road
Davis is terrible.
But is Davis getting patched with the LMIG money now?
I think,
all right, so
So
it
it'll be
will
done before any of these.
All right, that's what I want to make sure.
but it probably may need a reclamation on the whole road because it's got some issues out there. I mean, there's chunks missing in places, and what are your thoughts on if you compare it? Davis is pretty bad shape. I get a lot of calls on Davis and Smith.
I agree.
Those are the two.
I don't know.
Davis got a lot of traffic on it, just like Overland.
Right.
I mean,
Yeah, but Davis has got a lot more patches in it than Overland.
And it's-
Overland doesn't have any patches anywhere in it.
Do we have a
It might
cost
have
of Davis
wear, but it doesn't have the
reclamation?
patches and the
Right.
missing asphalt and everything.
Yes, that's the thing. We probably need a reclamation price because if you just lay a layer of asphalt on Davis, it's going to be cracked up.
well,
It's
I
gonna-
think Davis, what they gonna do, they gonna come in there and mill down
Mhm.
like they did out on Stallings. And they've been milling down 4 or 5 inches, you know, and filling it back in with asphalt.
But
Is what they've been doing, and that's what's gonna happen on Davis.
you think that would be enough, or would it need something like what happened on Comer or Homer Roberts?
Well, some of that out there has already had reclamation work done on it.
Okay.
I knew
just don't-
some work had been done, but I,
Yeah, I just don't want to do things twice. Of put a layer of asphalt over it, and in 2 years it's fresh asphalt, but it's broken up. I want to do it right the first time, and just need a professional evaluation of it. So
I don't know, you know, again, I haven't been on Overland Way to know that there's a bigger issue. I'm a fan of fixing what needs to be fixed. I don't just want to throw money over a road. So y'all tell me, is Overland Way the priority over Smith Road or Davis, or?
The problem is that we don't have a cost estimate on Davis for reclamation. So what are we going, how, we know what our dollar amount is, so are we saying we're gonna do Davis even if it takes away the top three priorities?
And if he said it'll put us in a pinch, but we could do it. I mean, again, I don't have a dog necessarily in this fight other than county roads being done right. And I think that at the end of the day, that's what's important to me. And I'd rather do the roads that need to be done for whomever that's choosing. If it's the safety of women and children or our seniors or everybody else, I want to do what's right there. And I don't know Davis versus these other roads. I don't have a clue. I've been on Smith Road, and yeah, that's a little rough. Overland, I can't feel it, so I don't know.
How long would it take to get a professional estimate on Davis so we can make an informed decision?
Yeah, well, we could have that for the next meeting.
I mean,
I agree with that. I agree Davis would be a priority over Overland Way to me.
So we get it graded and, I mean, we get it evaluated and priced by the next meeting.
that'll still give us enough time.
Yeah, yeah, we
Okay.
can still do that.
Don't wanna-
Because, I mean, I've not gotten any road complaints for Overland Way.
No.
And it's on the number 2 on the list.
I mean, it's going to have to be surfaced down the road, but at this time, it still has a serviceable life before it needs attention.
Right.
Need a motion to table or postpone, or?
Make motion to postpone until we get the figures on Davis Road.
Second.
All right, motion is second, and all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion passes. All right, department heads. John, you got any defense? Any comments? You want to fire back at him? None?
Happy New Year.
Thank you, thank you. Tom?
We got Liberty Park back lit up, lighting and manual there. Started the bridge, ordered material, not the bridge, but over the road. Ordered material today, so we're gonna be hard at it, tearing out rotten wood.
All right, good deal. Ms. Lavita, you got anything? Tiffany? Nothing? Jason? Shannon? All right. Oh, yeah, Miss Vicky. I looked at you 3 times and went right around. I was like, Vicky. Yeah, come on up. That's what it is.
It is time for us to start deciding on our Great American Cleanup.
Shh, don't mention it.
That's right. That's right.
I'm gonna win this year.
Dream
So
on.
I wanted to make sure that everybody was still, want to do this as a group like we've done it the past few years. And we need to come up with a date because I want to do the scrap tire abatement, where they give us the money back, and it has to be 90 days. So we need to go ahead and get busy.
So the weekend of April 26th, April 16th is Easter weekend.
And the first weekend is spring break for the school system, so
Okay.
a lot of people will be traveling.
So the Earth Day is actually on Friday, the 22nd. So that Saturday, the 23rd, what do we have? The weekend of the 23rd, what, do we have ACCG?
Is the last weekend, the 28th, 29th, and 30th.
So 23rd might be a good week to celebrate Earth Day, close to Earth Day,
That would be
with a big
wonderful.
cleanup. Tiffany's got a finger
We
up
have a lot of community events going on, we need to maybe try to tie that in.
for April.
What did we have last year, wasn't Dago Festival, there was something else.
We had Turkey
Is it
Fest,
a turkey festival?
Was it the Turkey Fest?
but I'm not sure when it is.
Last year.
And Clinton War Days will be early this year. We're gonna be April 30th and May 1st because we've got that Mother's Day weekend crossover and we never do Mother's Day weekend. So we'll be early as well.
Well, it'd be good to get it clean before.
Yeah, the weekend before is a good, before we start having some events, Mother's Day, April 23rd sounds like a good date. Anybody else think that's a bad date? And if we start planning it now, these other people can plan theirs around it.
That's
I would
not
like
too-
to make sure that we send a formal invitation to the city
Okay,
and challenge
yes,
them.
definitely.
You know, because they got districts that need to get beat too.
Okay.
So, yeah.
That's not your dad's birthday, is it? That's your dad's birthday.
17th. Yes, 17th.
So he's got to show up before he can meet anybody.
I'll be on a bike somewhere, I'm sure. It's terrible.
Last time we would have had him a birthday cake if he'd have come.
Yeah, he's antisocial at this point.
And we need to also make sure that we challenge the clubs and organizations and
Yeah.
in the school system. I know we had one group that came out and really
They
helped
did.
last year. They walked around the city of Gray picking
Yeah.
up.
So we'll get started on the, same as last year, getting our list of volunteers and team captains and that kind of
Okay.
stuff, and starting earlier, and it's a good idea.
And Saturday, there was the cleanup there they're gonna have on,
Grizzleville.
Grizzleville. I'm gonna take some of our leftover T-shirts and some pickers and stuff like that, and some trash bags and all
Good.
for them to use.
Thank you.
We'll, I think the computer recycling was a good idea. That
Yes, and
worked.
we're
We'll get
gonna
with-
do the paper this time, a
Okay.
real.
Okay, we'll get with Joe again about recycling. John, can you make sure we get plenty of recycling cans for the trash, for the tires?
Shredder, yes.
Yeah,
We're
the
gonna do
shredder.
shredder.
Full truck shredder.
Yes,
Okay.
definitely.
The truck's gonna be here?
No, we
We won't wait.
yes.
Yeah.
Because last time we didn't have enough.
All those
enough-
containers got full quick, didn't they?
Yes,
Yes,
and
they
we had
did.
to,
Then
we had to
we had to
overflow.
drag them inside.
So,
But I think that's wonderful. I'll go ahead and get started on, and last year we spoke with Morris Bank and they were gonna help sponsor
yeah.
this shredder, so maybe that, we might get to speak with them.
That's another thing. If anybody knows people that want to sponsor, it'd be a
Vulcan
good time
said that they
to
wanted
sponsor.
to.
Yeah, that's right. We'll
With
met
the,
with them.
if they need
Oh,
safety
that would
vests
be
and all that
wonderful.
kind of stuff, they said to reach out to them.
Yeah. So we challenge people. We take donations, sponsorships, and challenge mostly for them to get out there with trash bags and pickers
That's what we
and
need
get
more
it
than
up.
anything.
Because I want to see 1,400 dumpsters full.
So you would like to come in close, huh?
That's right. I'd like for somebody to beat us.
5 bags, just remember.
All of them.
making a list?
Yeah, we just taken all the list and alphabetize it and put it out there.
Gas Road.
All right.
All right,
Thank you.
thank you.
Let's see, citizen comments on the agenda, so Ms. has already talked.
She wanted to speak again.
okay.
I
And
just
then
wanted
Mr.
to come back to the item that wasn't on the agenda but got brought up, the courthouse clock. I just want to say out loud, the courthouse is on the National Register of Historic Places, which means the Secretary of the Interior's standards for rehabilitation apply. And if you ask me what that means about the guts of a clock, I don't know, but there are lots of historic courthouses in the state, so we should be able to find out. So I just
Right.
wanted to put that out there, that that's how we should do it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks. Mr. Galt,
I was just wondering how did that service station out there that just got the beer and wine license, did they get their tanks certified by the state? Because I know that the previous people that were in there tried to get those tanks certified, and they said they had to be dug up. I was there when the state person came out there, and I'm gonna check with them now and find out, how can they pump gas when they wouldn't let the previous owners? And
Are they gonna be selling gas?
yeah, maybe they're not having gas.
they're not gonna sell gas?
We don't know.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. was gonna say
All we know is beer and wine.
We just gave them permission to sell beer and wine.
They changed, okay. What was that? I didn't hear it.
We just gave them permission to sell beer or wine. We don't know about the gas.
Okay, well, I'll find out. But the tanks, they had to do that down at the Handy Andy, and also the
Yeah.
crossing, because those tanks have been in the ground so long,
Yeah.
so.
All right, commissioners' comments. Commissioner Martin?
Happy New Year. Let's do it right. Thanks, John, for the tip.
Ms. Vaughn? Commissioner Vaughn?
Also, Happy New Year's. I'm sorry, employees, that I missed Christmas dinner. I heard it was great and y'all had a great time. I'm sorry I missed that. Glad to see everybody back and healthy. Sending up extra prayers for our chairman. And that's the biggie.
Yeah. Ms. Brody, you got anything? Just six commission. Amen. John?
Happy New Year, like everybody else said. Hope everybody continues to keep Chris in your prayers and thoughts as he praying for his full recovery. That's most important right now. Jason, I wanted to ask about the redistricting that was canceled because of a power outage in Macon a while back. I know the deadline's fast approaching, and we haven't seen the data or anything else.
I talked to Laura Mathis yesterday with the regional commission, and she was working up a list of potential dates for me, and I haven't gotten that from her yet. But if I don't have it by about lunchtime tomorrow, I'll give her a call and
All right. We just
make
don't
sure we
want-
keep that.
We
keep
just don't
that
want it to
process
pass
going.
by us, because I know state house districts are fruit basket turnover, and there's some real number differences in the districts 2 and district 4 are low compared to 1 and 3. So we just want to, can't get it perfect, but we need to try to shift a little bit just to even out a little bit. All right, thank you.
All right. Happy New Year to everybody as well. Are we still on, Tim, are we still on track with our water on Sand Creek? All that?
All of it's been surveyed, we're putting all the design together now. Material pricing has really not changed, and the material availability has not really changed. We can pursue, if y'all want to go ahead and bid materials for that, we can, but we're really trying to be on target for the closing next month, about 6 weeks away.
Okay. I know we were talking about timing the material out with the funding and all. Are we still on track for that?
Yeah.
Okay. That's all I wanted to know, is just make sure we weren't behind on anything. And the other thing was Liberty Park. I know we got that notification about the grant funding there.
So Levita and I have a conference call, I think it's Thursday, with DNR about the financial management piece of it. So, so that we've started to see some movement there, and hopefully after that we'll have a feel for when we'll be able to start drawing that money down.
We probably also need to back out to, I think it was LSI that Matt was talking to with the, or was it Play World or LSI?
The playground equipment
For the
stuff.
playground equipment. Yeah, so.
Yeah, we've got a bunch of playground stuff that we can bid out all at one time, I think, and really make our money go a long way between the Liberty Park expansion, the grant-funded expansion there, the money that was included in the budget for new playground equipment, I think at 3 different locations, and then we have money in the SPLOST for inclusive type playground at Matty Wells. So I think we can probably bid that out as one package and really make our money go a long way.
Yes, we could.
Okay.
Yeah, I like that.
And I don't know if this is something we need to start talking about funding for or whatever, but I've heard several people talk about the dog park, how much it's used out here and how much people enjoy it. And one thing that I've gotten from them is what we really need out there is some type of shade sails, because the dogs are running and the people are running out there, and they said, we got this one little canopy over here, but not everybody can sit under it at once. So they brag on it all the time, and they said if that's anything that they could get would be some kind of shade over where the activity sets and all are in the park. So that's all I got. We have an executive session. Yeah, and I will echo what everyone else said. If you will, keep the chairman in your prayers. He's having a tough time right now, but he's a tough old bird. So keep him in your prayers, and hopefully he'll bounce back to full recovery. Motion.
The ARPA money the county applied for at the end of October is still on track to be announced this week. We don't know what day, but the website today said it would be this week.
Good.
So you're gonna let us know, right?
I'm assuming they'll notify Jason through the East Silvis grant portal, like they did with the one Georgia money.
All right.
But that was half of the water equipment, so it was about $8 million.
Yeah.
Good. All right. Well, Miss Commissioner
Mr.
Vaughn.
Chairman, I'm making a motion that we adjourn.
Second.
All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. One time I didn't